The International Monetary Fund. Three words, one powerful institution, shaping the global financial system from behind the scenes. But who really holds the power? And how are decisions that affect entire economies actually made? At the IMF, decision making isn't democratic in traditional sense. Instead, it's governed by a weighted voting system where economic strength determines influence. What is the key here? Quota subscriptions. Every member state has a quota calculated using a complex formula that factors in GDP, gross domestic product, based on both market exchange rates and purchasing power parity. Secondly, trade openness. How much a country interacts with the global market. Thirdly, economic variability. How stable or volatile its growth is. And last one is international reserves, a reflection of its financial resilience. These variables are crunched into a number, a quota share. Then each member gets a baseline number of votes, but the real power comes from additional votes tied directly to these quota shares. The bigger your economy, the louder is your voice. So who is at the top? The United States leads by a wide margin. Behind it, Japan, China, Germany, UK and France. Together these economies shape much of what the IMF does, from policy frameworks to lending decisions. But governance becomes more than math when geopolitics enters the picture. On May 7, 2025, India launched Operation Sindoor, a targeted counter-terrorism strike within Pakistan and POK. This came just 2 weeks after a terrorist attack in Pahalgam, Kashmir. Meanwhile, Pakistan remains under international scrutiny for alleged links to terrorism financing and funding, an accusation raised by global watchdogs and still unresolved. And here is where the question intensifies. Just days after these events, the IMF approved a USD 1 billion disbursement to Pakistan out of approved $2.4 billion. Is this just routine financial assistance, or is it a signal with broader implications? Pakistan has turned to the IMF again and again, 28 out of the past 35 years to be precise. There's a long history of economic support punctuated by repeated financial crises. In fact, in just the past 5 years, the country has entered 4 different IMF programs. But does persistent financial reliance change when national security and international stability are at stake? This is where the role of IMF becomes more than just technical, it becomes ethical, political, and strategic. Should economic aid be withheld due to allegations of terrorism financing, or is economic stability itself a prerequisite for peace? These are not easy questions, but they are essential. And in a world where economic and geopolitical lines are increasingly blurred, institutions like the IMF are under growing pressure to reassess how and why they act. So we leave you with this. Should the IMF prioritize stability above all? Or should it take a firmer stance when international peace and security hang in the balance? You decide.